with the village board meeting tonight. If you're able, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
President Weatherspoon.
Here.
Trustee Lambert.
Here.
Trustee Spillman.
Here.
Trustee Martin.
Here.
Trustee Pierce. Here. Trustee McManus.
Here.
And Trustee Wishaw.
Here. Approval of the minutes from the village board meeting of September 9th. Motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of September 9th, 2025.
Second.
And any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I wasn't here, so
Microphone's on.
I don't hear. That one's. It's me here.
I'll switch microphones, how's that? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are carried. Thank you, everybody. Okay, we're going to go into public comment. I see some of you have big signs. If you want to hold the sign up over your head, don't do it when you're seating. Please go to the back of the room and hold the sign up. If you hold it up down below your face or you're going to block everybody else's view, I don't care. Okay. So, we'll start with public comment. We have a list, starting with Christopher Hogan. Chris? Chris, how you doing, buddy? You don't want to come up to the mic? So Chris works for Tammy Baldwin. And thank you for being here, Chris.
Poor guy. We all know who Chris is now.
And Chris, great speech. Thank you. Dana Lesjak? I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name.
Diana Lessenjack.
Come on up. Name and address at the microphone, please. Diana?
Yeah, Diana.
I'm sorry, Diana.
She's in the blue.
After her will be Kathy Berg, Westberg. Good evening. By the way, I should add 2-minute limit. Dale will wave his hand when you get close to that. So thank you very much. Thank you for being here.
I timed it, and it comes to 2 minutes and 7 seconds.
We'll let you go with that 7. How's that?
And this will be as concerns the data center. So what do we know? We know this project benefits investors and developers, but that it has a negative effect on all of us, even considering property taxes it could bring. We know that the very few jobs created will be for highly trained technicians. We know this installation could cause groundwater pollution, affecting wells and water tables. It would cause light and noise pollution as well. We know that our water pressure or water quality may be affected by the tremendous water use of this facility. We know that our electric bills may be impacted by the huge drain on power. And we know we might even have to endure brownouts or blackouts because of this drain. We know that communities like ours are targets for speculators because of our precious water resources. When data centers such as this go online, our Great Lakes and other waterways are slowly sucked dry. We know that data centers are built by speculators. These facilities depend on leases, renting out spaces for data storage. If too many centers are built, They operate at a loss or are shut down and even abandoned. Microsoft stated in March of this year that they were pulling back on leases for more data centers. Why? Their answer stated that there is currently already an oversupply of such data centers.
10 seconds.
A data center project proposed up in Menominee was just put on hold. A very good idea for them. I ask each member of this
Time's
village
up.
board, what is your personal stance going to be?
Time's up.
Are you going to consider carefully this unique installation? Be careful as you consider.
So that I can hear where they live.
Kathy, when you come up, don't forget your name and address, please. Thank you. And following Kathy will be Carl. Scheidt? Scheidt? Holy Road? Hi.
My name is Kathy Berg, Westberg. My address is 5840 Highway 38. This proposal contradicts our village's identity as defined in our 2035 Comprehensive Land Use Plan. That plan, shaped by public input, prioritizes the preservation of rural character, agricultural lands, and environmental corridors. This project requires a special amendment, undermining our entire community's long-term vision and the reason why most of us chose to live here, as I did. I oppose rezoning and the development of a data center. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is it because there's multiple microphones?
Good evening, Carl Scheid, 7325 Foley Road. I'm not here to say that we shouldn't have development in the town or the village. I'm actually for development, but for development, you need the right development on the right parcel and in the right location or area of the village. I do believe that rezoning that area along 32 to light manufacturing is not the right development for that parcel, nor is it in the right area of town. So as the current land use plan suggests, there should be highway business, low density housing, ag, and I don't see that creating an area of light manufacturing is in the best interest for the village or on the surrounding parcels that need to be subsequently developed over time. Some will say that you can't develop that land because of the way of getting sewer and water to those properties, but that is incorrect. With proper planning and proper use of lift stations and the like, that can be all developed into appropriate size residential housing, and with the use of highway business type zoning, and then higher density housing and then lower density housing, that whole area can be a vibrant area for the village.
10 seconds.
Thus, I don't believe, and you're going to hear a nice presentation by the developers of how it's
Time's up.
going to improve the community. I oppose that.
Next is Jeff Volkowski, and following him would be Tiffany Hammond.
I don't know if anybody heard that.
Microphone back on. My apologies. Thank you, ma'am. Jeff Volkowski, followed by Tiffany Hammond.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Jeff Wilkowski. I used to live on County Line Road about 15 to 20 years ago. We Energies bought us out, and we had some good neighbors, George Bink and his family, plus land is now vacant. For the past 8.5 years, we live on 7 Mile Road, 7141 to be exact, and just west of Foley Road. We built the house on 6.5 acres. For the most part, it's quiet and peaceful, except for when large trucks go down the road. I'm against having more traffic going down 7 Mile Road. Also against having a data center being put in our neighborhood. My electric bill is getting large, and with a data center, the rates are going to get to skyrocket. You can say it's good for the village tax base, but who's watching out for the people that live in our village? Thank you.
Good evening, Tiffany Hammond, 8937 Foley Road. I'm here tonight because I care deeply about the future of Caledonia and the place my family has called home for 3 generations. The proposal to rezone over 245 acres of prime farmland for a massive data center comes at the cost that can never be undone. Once farmland is paved over, it is gone forever. These acres provided open space, natural habitat, and the ability to grow crops we depend on. Replacing them with concrete and steel destroys that value and the changes changes the character of our community. We must also face the impact on resources. Data centers consume enormous amounts of electricity and water while creating noise and light pollution that affect both residents and wildlife. Other communities living near data centers report overwhelmingly negative impacts with little to no benefit in return. And let's be clear, the people of Caledonia do not want this, obviously. If you vote to push this project through, you are not standing with the residents who elected you. That choice will not be forgotten when it's time to vote again. Caledonia takes pride in its rural roots, its open fields, and its close community. A project of this scale does not reflect those values. There are better sites for this development, ones that don't require erasing farmland and ecosystems. I ask you to think about the legacy you leave for our children and our grandchildren. Please do not sacrifice our land, our character, and our community for a project that serves no one but the developer. If you vote to approve this and it all goes bad, which it will, just know we all told you so, and your community's suffering will be solely your fault. Thanks.
Kim Anderson, followed by Amanda Roscoe.
Hello, good evening. My name's Kim Anderson. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'm here to speak against, I live at 10414 Prairie Crossing Drive in Franksville. I'm here to urge you to not rezone this stretch of land. I do not believe that southeastern Wisconsin needs another data center. There was a study from Clean Wisconsin that showed that 4.3 gigatons of energy will be used between the one that is already in Mount Pleasant from Microsoft and the one in Port Washington, which outpaces the energy use for all of the homes in the state of Wisconsin, just for those 2 centers. I do not believe that we need another one here. I feel like this is going to be similar to like the Y2K phenomenon, where nothing really comes of it. They say we're going to need all of this extra data centers to keep up with the demand for AI, but that may or may not be true. I'd like to draw your attention to an article called From the Conversation from Peyton McCauley and Professor Melissa Scallon from UW-Milwaukee, who is the director for Clean Water Wisconsin, the Center for Water here in Wisconsin. My biggest concern is I have small children. I want this community to remain a nice community for my children in the future. These data centers use a massive amount of water, despite being next to Lake Michigan, one of the biggest reservoirs of clean water in the world. And while most of that water will go back to the lake and it will be treated, we need to treat it like the precious resource that it is. These data centers use a massive
10
amount of
seconds.
energy, and so we need to be cognizant of the massive amount of resources that are limited. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
My name is Amanda Roscoe. I live at 5109 Erie Street. First, this rezoning conflicts with the Racine County Comprehensive Plan, which prioritizes the farmland, preservation, open space, and rural character. Industrial development belongs in areas already planned for growth with urban services, not in farmland that fragments our rural landscape. Second, Caledonia already has TIF districts and industrial zones with the infrastructure in place, roads, utilities, and broadband, plus over 1,000 acres of development-ready land identified by the Racine County Economic Development Corporation. These sites align with long-term growth strategies, don't burden taxpayers. Third, the site lacks infrastructure, roads, water, sewer, and power upgrades that would be costly and disruptive and could shift hidden costs into residents. Construction risks and damaging private wells, wetlands, and groundwater recharge. Proximity to coal ash piles further raise concerns about the contamination of soil, water, and air. In short, this rezoning is unnecessary and harmful. We have better prepared alternatives. I urge the board to deny this request, direct the developer towards the designated development zones, and uphold the integrity of our land use plan and our rural character of our environment.
Thank you. Lisa Christensen, followed by Becky Gerard.
I'm Lisa Christensen. I live at 2901 5.5 Mile Road. I want to say once a native landscape or farmland is gone, it is almost impossible to replace. I feel there is already a land use in place, and a land use plan in place, and it should be adhered to, especially because we should be looking into the future for our kids and grandkids. A project like this that will destroy natural habitat and negatively impact the lake is morally wrong. Of course, there are some benefits to building a data center in Caledonia, but these don't outweigh the cons. There will be a terrible cost to the environment, especially our precious lake. We have a responsibility to protect the wildlife and nature around us. Most of us live in Caledonia because we like the rural feeling. This project will hurt the value of living here. I urge the board to make an ethical choice and vote against rezoning, and I don't understand why this is wanting to be rezoned. Thank you.
Thank you. Seth Gerardius, I'm sorry, is next.
Becky Gerard, 507 Hialeah Drive. Since today it was just announced that Microsoft is the actual client behind the data center, I just have questions, I guess. Why did it take so long for this to be told to the public? And then also, we already have a huge data center that is being constructed right now in Mount Pleasant, and I don't understand why we need one in Caledonia as well. Not sure I understand any of the logic behind any of this, so just want to say that. Thank you.
Thank you. Seth, I'm sorry if I screwed up your last name. Everybody does?
Seth Gordonis, 415 4.5 Mile Road, Caledonia. So I oppose rezoning and the development of a data center here in Caledonia. A data center will bring limited jobs to our area, and after the technology becomes obsolete, then what? We have another set of empty buildings to contend with. Further, do you really want to bet your money on one taxpayer? This is a multi-million-dollar gift to We Energies, while the taxpayer gets almost nothing. Look next door at Oak Creek. Decades of aggressive development that didn't lower taxes. It just brought more concrete and congestion. This will increase our tax levy and ultimately our taxes. There is no benefit to us. Thank you.
Page 2, Prescott Bald, and then John Mantley. Good evening.
Good evening. Prescott Balch, 7337 Foley Road. The one scenario that I would bet a lot of money will never happen is the one they're going to pitch tonight. That's not negative. That's the way all these deals work. The Foxconn deal didn't go as written on a piece of paper. None of the TIDs that are active in this community went as advertised. Things change. The best laid plans of mice and men do often go awry. This is going to be no different. If you see this as a decision, this is the important part. If you see this as a decision to approve a data center, you're missing the bigger picture. If it's not going to, the lifespan of a general purpose commercial facility, commercial real estate development facility is as long as the concrete and steel will last. According to the Uptime Institute, a data center group, the lifespan of a data center is between 15 and 25 years. They can be as short as 10. And the life cycles of technology are getting even shorter. They have throughout my technology career. If there is such a short, finite amount of time to the life of this data center, it begs the question, not whether we should approve the data center, it's should we approve what you're going to do in 15 years or 20 years when the owner of that data center, whoever it happens to be at the time, decides that they can no longer invest in it and we need to do something different with it. Look at that parcel. That parcel is 4 miles away from the nearest commercial development. It's inconvenient to the highway, it's inconvenient to the airport, and you're going to zone it M1. And you're going to look for somebody in an inconvenient location to fill 1 million square feet of commercial real estate. That's the decision that you're making, not the decision that you're going to make based on the pitch that's being given today. That finite data center length is the key factor in this decision. You have to look ahead and make a decision based on where you think this village will be. Thank you.
Time's up. Thank you.
Hi, John.
My name is John Manthe, 442 Hialeah Drive. My wife and I moved here 4 years ago from Hartford, which is a wonderful rural community, but we had to move for our jobs. We picked this community because of the structure of the community, because of the neighborhoods. Approving this deal sells that rural charm, not even to the highest bidder. It gives it away at the request of a corporation. I am pro-business, but a business in this community needs to be one that serves its people. This business would not serve Caledonia. So I ask you to reconsider. Thank you.
Valerie Landell, and then followed by Jill Budmeyer. Budman?
Valerie Lancel, 10810 7 Mile Road. Good evening, everyone. I oppose rezoning and the development of a data center. The parcels are currently zoned agriculture to preserve farmland, open space, and our rural character. Rezoning to allow low industrial development contradicts the Racine County 2035 Comprehensive Plan, which emphasizes farmland preservation and maintaining rural character. Rezoning this agricultural land threatens to fragment rural landscapes and undermines long-term land use goals. I love Caledonia for its character, as many do here. Please don't change it. And once it's changed, it's gone forever. This request is not in the best interest of the community. It disregards the plan, overlooks better prepared sites, and threatens rural character and environmental health. I respectfully urge you to deny the zoning request, recommend the developer pursue alternatives within designated TIF districts, and prioritize long-term land use integrity, environmental protection, and please keep Caledonia rural, not just today, but for the future as well. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Jill Buckman. I live at 6508 Running Horse Road. We are obviously all here because we care about our community, its health, its future, and the quality of life we enjoy. And we really hope that you, the people we elected, choose to think about that as well when you're making this decision on whether to rezone the land. The land that you're choosing to rezone is right in the backyards of many of us. Our properties abut it, and I really, truly hope you consider whether you would say yes if that was your backyard.
Kim Hoover and Trevor Thomas.
Kim Hoover, 8220 Foley Road. As has already been noted by other community members here tonight, the common community concerns about data centers relate to their environmental impact, particularly their high consumption of water and energy, along with noise pollution and limited local economic benefits. As a resident in close proximity of this proposed development, I know I only have a brief 2 minutes to discuss my opposition of this project. But while I could give you a long list of why nots, I'd like to address a few of my largest elephants in the room about this project. It is widely known that these data centers require large parcels of land and most often are built on agricultural areas or other undeveloped land. The proposed site in roughly 245 acres, which in comparison to other data center projects, even here in Wisconsin, is quite small. The individual that spoke at the Planning Commission meeting stated that they would have 500 feet buffer from all surrounding properties. Those of us that live in the rural areas of Caledonia already know that 500 feet is absolutely no buffer at all, since I can hear my neighbors' conversations on their porch clearly every evening from that distance away. The area surrounding the development site is already developed into residential homes, many of us who have been here for decades with no plans to leave or to sell. There is simply no room for expansion without eminent domain on our homes. I severely oppose that. Now let's discuss how the very proposed site was not vacant land until approximately 15 years ago, when We Energies essentially forced the purchase of those properties to them due to well contamination. While We Energies claim no responsibility for such contaminations, they preface these offers that cannot be refused with their desire to have this land to serve as their buffer to prevent further contamination to the nearby properties, forcing selling residents silence through non-disclosure agreements. Many are worried about water consumption and pollution. My concern runs deeper, right from the beginning of the construction of digging into the ground and interrupting the bedrock. You were elected by our residents to represent the best interests of taxpayers and community members, not your own personal interests or financial gain for some large foreign business entity. The data center in the proposed location will have a profound negative impacts on our daily lives and community, and you all know it. Please vote no to rezoning.
Trevor Thomas, 5704 Short Road. I'm against the rezoning and the data center. All research has shown all it does is cost taxpayers in the long run. There's nothing that we want of it really. And then the pollution in the long run, my grandchildren are going to be here. I kind of like to have them enjoy it here too. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Paul Stecker, followed by Jennifer, and I'm sorry, I cannot read your last name, Jennifer. 5329 7 Mile. What is it? Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Paul?
Paul Stecker, 5329 7 Mile Road. I'm here tonight to manage transparency and accountability regarding the information, the Special Zoning Committee, and its ties to the RCEDC. We Energies and other entities that have long benefited from village decisions, often behind closed doors. Per our village ethics standards and potential conflicts of interest involving public officials, whether elected, appointed, or volunteer, must be disclosed to all residents. That has not happened. Instead, we've had a hand-picked committee by the village president packed with individuals tied to the RCEDC and We Energies organizations with a history including the Foxconn debacle, forced relocations, and questionable financial dealings. Let's talk about the 60 million We Energy settlement. To date, 45 million paid out. Where's it go? Where's the whole million go every year that you still get? Some are being funneled back to the RC, EDC, and organization taxpayers are already funding, and one that pays its leadership hefty salaries, bonuses, all while claiming nonprofit status. The same RC, EDC Foxconn is now promoting the new data center again with both sides of the table. That's not ethical government, that's revolving door of influence. I've submitted public record requests that have been ignored. I've contacted village officials, no answer. I had a meeting canceled and replaced with a visit from the police department. That's not how this works. I have over 500 pages of evidence and documents if anybody wants them. We, the residents, deserve whoever's making decisions and the effects of the families and homes, the taxpayers, and the committee, you're accountable to the public. I've also been in contact with the county and state representatives, with all you, and you, everybody knows. That's it.
Jennifer Augustinovich, 5329 7 Mile Road.
Pronounce that name again, please.
Augustinovich.
Thank you.
Some say the proposed data center may promise economic growth. We all know that is a lie, but we cannot ignore its massive environmental footprint. These facilities require enormous amounts of energy and water, and they generate significant heat and noise, all of which could have lasting damaging effects on our local ecosystem. What happens to the clean air our children breathe when more diesel generators and cooling systems are running around the clock? What about the light and noise pollution that will disturb wildlife, rob us of our peace and quiet, our native birds, deer, our beloved coyotes, pollinators, and other animals that make Caledonia so special? Where do they go? As a parent and pet owner, I'm mostly worried about the health risks to my family and pets. Children and animals are more sensitive to pollution, and exposure to even low levels of contaminants over time lead to long-term health problems. From air quality concerns to potential water contamination or runoff from increased industrial activity, we deserve to know how our safety will be protected before any ground is broken and who to contact when that so-called protection has failed the young and innocent. It's bad enough we literally already have light pollution, noise pollution, and coal dust covering our house and vehicles from the power plant. We will have this added to it. Additionally, I'm concerned about the unknowns, like possible runoff from construction, electromagnetic exposure, and the long-term noise that can disturb both people and animals. Our home should be a place of safety and health, not something we need to defend against industrial intrusion. We are not against progress, we're against reckless development with no accountability, no transparency, and no proper environmental impact assessment. Our health and our local environment must not be sacrificed for corporate gain. I urge this board to slow down, answer the hard questions, and prove to residents that this project won't come at the cost of our homes, our health, or the natural beauty of Caledonia. And again, let us know who to contact when this project does affect all of that. You as a board need to prioritize the health of the community, wildlife, and environment. If any of you are for this, I am sure everyone here would like to know why. Explain your reasoning. We are the ones who are fighting against this. You are in an elected position. We deserve explanations. Lastly, once the natural areas are gone, once the wildlife is driven out, and once our environment is compromised, the damage will be permanent. There's no going back. Thank you.
Some of us need to work on our handwriting, I guess. Gail Kudla, 7 Mile Road? Hi, Gail.
Need the full address.
And then following Gail would be Kat LaFond. Thank you. Hi.
Hi, Gail Kudla. I live on 7 Mile Road.
Yeah, name and address, please.
8724.
Thank you.
7 Mile Road.
7 Mile.
I actually grew up on County Line Road. Now, are there houses on that anymore? Not from where it's now a wetland. They used to be farmland going to the power plant. There used to be, a gentleman talked about developing houses and that. We Energies bought all the houses, the restaurant, everything on 32, everything going up on Botting Road except for like 2 properties are left. We Energies contaminated our water on County Line. That's why many, many residents had to leave, and all along 32. Now putting in a data center, will this same thing happen? More than likely. We Energies had provided us water to live on because we had no other source. And so then we bought on 7 Mile Road. Now we're living with the gas pipeline. It's now going to run through my property. Again, We Energies. I agree with many, many people that have spoken here. Why can we not vote on this? Why are just you voting on this? We That's exactly right. We need to be voting, not just the panel here. Yeah. We live there. You don't live there. We the people. That's right. Also, Mount Pleasant. They voted this in. They expanded it. Why are we asking for one in Caledonia? Why? Is what I'd like to know. Somebody else brought that up also. Mm-hmm. Follow the money. Follow the money. And wildlife.
Let's not interrupt her, okay?
Wildlife. I also agree with many of the people that have spoken here.
Time's up.
You're just driving wildlife out.
Your time is up.
Please listen to the citizens here of Caledonia.
Thank you.
Good evening. Kat LaFont, 2500 Tammy Lane. Approving this deal sells the village's rural charm and open spaces. And as another speaker already pointed out, it's not even to the highest bidder. We're just giving it away to some large corporation because they've asked. The land in that area was zoned A2 for the express purpose of creating a buffer from the power plant. Now you're ready to put commercial development there, from which the surrounding properties will still need an actual buffer. The land use plan was written as it is for a reason. No one has articulated a good reason why we need to change it. I oppose rezoning and the development of a data center here. Thank you.
Haley Martinson, followed by Kelly Walker.
Good evening. My name is Haley Martinson. I'm at 4460 Yates Drive. And I stand before you today to speak against the proposed data center in Racine. On the surface, this project may seem like progress, jobs, investments, and technology, but we must look deeper. The truth is the data center poses serious threats to our environment, our water supply, and our community's long-term well-being. First and foremost, data centers consume enormous amounts of water and electricity, resources that we are already under strain. In Racine, we are proud of our access to Lake Michigan, but this is not the bottomless well. Massive withdrawals for server cooling could impact lake levels, ecosystems, and our drinking water for generations. And let's not forget our energy footprint. Despite promises of green operations, data centers are some of the biggest energy hogs in the digital age. Increased demand could lead to more fossil fuel usage, pollution, and long-term environmental damage. Economically, the picture is not much better. These facilities often bring fewer permanent jobs than advertised, relying heavily on automation, and local tax incentives and subsidies often mean our community pays the price while corporations profit. This is not just about Racine, it's about what kind of future we want to build. One where corporations can come in, take our resources, and leave us with environmental scars, or one where our water, land, and people are protected and valued. Let's stand together for transparency, sustainability, and a smarter development. Racine deserves better. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name's Kelly Walker. I live at 7421 South North Cape Road in Franklin. And thank you for what I hope will be careful consideration of our concerns about this decision. And cheers to everybody else who showed up to this meeting to share their concerns today. I'm your neighbor up in Franklin. I'm concerned that there is no upside to the taxpayers, to our community members on this deal. Neighbors get environmental degradation, noise and light pollution, higher energy bills, with few benefits from this from the data center. They don't employ many people. They're not beautiful. You can't shop in them. You can't visit them. There's vague promises of future revenue and profits for the wealthy. I've been thinking a lot about this principle of 7 generations, right? And that when we make important decisions like this, we have to think 7 generations in the future. And I know what the right decision is for my whatever great grandchildren. And I hope you will join me in opposing this rezoning and the development of this data center. Thank you.
Sandy Welcher, followed by Andrew Hendricks. Good to see you again, Sandy. How you doing?
Nice to see you again. Good evening, Board. Sandy Welcher, 8804 Foley Road, Caledonia. I have lived here for since approximately 1994. I own 55 acres on County Line and Foley Road. I chose Caledonia for its farmland, dark skies, and quiet neighborhoods. Although I live very close to We Energies, Oak Creek plant, I do not want to change them. I accept them for what they are. However, I think changing 245 acres that We Energies purchased into M1 zone is wrong. Instead of barns and fields, we'll have massive box buildings, constant traffic, industrial lighting, and a 24-hour hum. It doesn't just change the view, it changes property values for every family living nearby. I personally was selling 5 acres, which now the people have backed out. I understand why. Due to the rezoning. Would you want this in your area, in your backyard? It's hit me financially. Unfortunately, it's not going to hit any of you the same way. We Energies can donate the 245 acres to the Caledonia Conservancy. The land could be used for multi-trails and still remain rural. If you must build a data center, put it in the industrial park that is already established, not here. Protect the Caledonia we know and deny this rezoning. I want to present the board with a petition signed by 134 people against the rezoning of the 245 acres. These people are from County Line Road to 6 Mile,
10 seconds.
West River Road, and to Highway 32. Only 6 people didn't want to sign.
Time's up.
4 of these people wanted more information, and 2 thought their taxes would go down if the data center was built. This petition was done door to door. If you wouldn't want this in your neighborhood, don't build it in ours. Here's your petition.
Andrew Hendricks, 5644 Acorn Trail. So I was here for the meeting on August 12th, and I heard a pretty compelling presentation from Carrie Grievings from Visit Racine County about state of tourism around here. And she said, I think that Racine County was the 2nd best performing county in the state, if I remember correctly from the presentation. And the things that brought people into Caledonia were things like the Eco Justice Center, Jellystone, you know, all these kind of things that are here because of the greenways in the area. It seems like we would be shooting ourselves in the foot to start attacking those things that are demonstrably bringing in people and dollars to the county and the village. So as I've said a couple times before, I oppose the development of the data center, and I share everyone else's worries environmentally. So it doesn't make any sense to whatever pros that this thing has, which we still have yet to hear, it would come at the expense of the things that are already drawing people into the village.
Hi, Susan. You knew you were next, didn't you? Yeah.
Susan Schleve, 8531 7 Mile Road, 51-year resident. If any resident here wants the data center, can you please raise your hand? There we go, guys. All right, we have one person, that's fine. Anybody else? So we have over 100 residents who came here tonight. One of them wants the data center. I'm assuming no one else is lying, so I encourage everyone to raise your hand and say you are opposed right now. I don't want the board to just listen to us. I want you to hear us. You are elected officials. You need to hear the residents. I'd also like to know the advantages of the data center. Tax cuts, jobs, hardly. I want that to be proven. How? How are we going to benefit? These big corporations want to come into our rural society. They want to use our fresh water, our electricity, all for their gain, not for ours. They're going to contaminate our water. They're going to use electricity, contaminate the air. They're going to, that electricity will reflect in our bills. There is no benefit to us. In the meantime, if you want to talk about tax cuts and jobs, what about this property right behind us, that big Kmart? Why not get a business in there? It's already established. Then we can have tax cuts. Then we can have more jobs. So I urge the board to hear us. We voted for you. You need to hear us. In my 6-mile drive that it took me to come here, 17 signs opposing this. Not one sign said, yes, please put a data center here for tax cuts. Listen to us and hear us.
Okay, there's 2 more people on the formal list, Chris Atkinson and then Marcia Bueller. Chris?
Chris Atkinson, 6205 Highway 31. So good evening. Tonight, I want to talk about a parallel to the song, The Devil Went Down to Georgia. In it, the devil was he was in a bind because he was way behind and he was willing to make a deal. He tells a young man named Johnny to bet his soul in exchange for a fiddle of gold, or in our case, the likely promise of jobs, taxes, growth, infrastructure upgrades, and who knows what else. Before Johnny even plays the song, the devil gets ready. He pulls out his bow and he has a band of demons join in to back him up. Johnny didn't know that the devil was going to use his minions to gain a deceptive, unfair advantage. Sound familiar? The devil in this story probably showed up in suits, sit in front row maybe, picked Johnny as his target well in advance, and was making backdoor deals long in advance before their well-known duel came to light. His minions were working in darkness, pushing to change laws, handing out gold to snap up land, lobbying in advance, and greasing federal and state wheels, rosining up the bow a long time ago. So let me be clear who Johnny is in this parallel. Johnny is the people of the village of Caledonia and the many other nearby communities who will be forced to subsidize the consequences of this project. What you're hearing from tonight and all of us, the people you represent, not a committee, not a hired corporation with its own agenda, it's Johnny's song. The handpicked special committees are not Johnny. We never voted for them to make decisions for us. The Economic Development Corporation was not elected and has its own agenda, which we apparently pay them to influence us on. So our song is asking you to do one thing: close the fiddle case, say no to this rezoning, stop unknowingly working on behalf of other forces, advancing their agenda, bowing before their bow even touches the string. We don't want a golden fiddle or any other promises from those trying to advance someone else's agenda. We never agreed to enter this duel, and others with their own motives did that for us. And we will not entertain any agreement that trades away our rural soul for the great cost of our lake, the environment, our pocketbooks, our health, or quality of life. Thank you.
Marcia Bueller, 3695 Newman Road. What everybody else here said tonight. You heard me speak a couple of weeks ago, and I have my opposition to this on record, so I'm not going to repeat everything else. It's kind of fortuitous that I went after the last gentleman because I was just going to remind you all about the debacle in Chicago in 2008 when they made the decision to sell for 75 years, the revenue from their parking meters to a private investor in exchange for $1.15 billion, yes, billion with a B, upfront payment. And what happened was parking rates went up astronomically. Chicago is probably one of the highest parking cost cities in the nation. And the investor made back their money in the first 15 years, and there's still 60 years left on that contract. So pure profit from then on that does not go to the people of Chicago, but comes out of the pockets of the people of Chicago. And I bring that story up because I want you to consider the long-term consequences of this. You know, it may be a short-term slam dunk as far as property taxes and providing some revenue to the village, but the long-term consequences that everybody here has spoken so eloquently about tonight are such that we can't take that risk. We cannot risk our future, our families, and our future generations' quality of life to have this data center built. So Chicago has been called a lesson in worst practices for what they did. And I'm hoping that you will make the right decision here so that Caledonia does not also become an example of worst practices. Thank you.
Okay, we've completed the list where people signed in at the door. Does anybody else want to speak? Come on up, sir. So we have a sign-in sheet, so after you name an address, after you speak, would you mind signing the sheet, please? Thank you.
My name's Scott Shemming. I live at 55257 7 Mile Road. I'm directly across the street from this abomination. Not only did We Energies come and drive my neighbors out, including my parents, to sign NDAs so that they can't talk about the things that they did. We do not want this. You're taking 250 acres, supposed for now. The land that abuts just to the south of this is owned by a 90-year-old woman who will sell. There's 4 lots that are on 7 Mile Road that you will tie into this to bring this project over 500 acres and stuff it down our throats. We don't want this. We don't want the wildlife gone. We like the wildlife. We don't need this. You have a plan for your 50 years. Stick to it. We don't want you ruining the migratory birds landing area, the wildlife that's there. This is lakeshore property, fine fields from Milwaukee to Chicago. These birds, animals need their place to be. We don't want it. We don't need irrigation in the fields that are planted there. The soybeans are a foot taller than anything west of the interstate. Please, put it where you have it, where it belongs. We don't want it. We don't want to pay more in energy. We don't want to pay more in water. We don't want our natural resources removed so a company can come in and make profit on us. The profit that they make should go into everything. I shouldn't have to pay more. My services shouldn't go up. I shouldn't be able to not drink my water. I shouldn't be able to not have rural area where we were born. I've been living in my house since the day I was born. My parents were forced to leave across the street from We Energies. This is baloney. The land was sold to them as a buffer zone to keep industry away from its residents. As soon as they got control of it, now we want to turn it into profit for them. I'm sorry, but this is not the way Caledonia is supposed to be. Have a great day.
Welcome.
Hi. Hello, my name's Sydney Peterson, 1218 Springfield Lane. Got it? Hi, my name's Sydney. I'm a lifelong resident of Caledonia, but I'm also a Great Lakes professional. So I've been employed by the Wisconsin Sea Grant, and I currently just started a position with the Center for Water Policy at University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. For those of you who don't know, Sea Grant is a nationwide program that works with all levels of government, county, state, and federal to help protect coastal communities and their water resources. In Racine County, this means Lake Michigan. I work in Racine, Kenosha, and Milwaukee counties educating people about the lake and threats to the lake. I'm hoping to bring the bigger picture into this discussion. As members of this board, you've heard a lot of arguments about, and you're probably thinking about what this data center means for Caledonia. How many local jobs will be created? What road and infrastructure improvements will be needed? How much will residents' utilities bills increase? And is that worth the economic benefits? All of these questions have to do with our village that's just 25,000 people. Yet all across the Great Lakes region, other village boards are asking themselves the same question as we are now. Is a data center the right fit for our community? However, the impacts of a data center are not limited to the community they are built in. The data center is not limited to Caledonia. These centers rely on electrical grids, power plants, fiber optic cables, and water resources that are shared between villages, cities, states, and even countries. The environmental impacts of this data center would ripple out across the entire Great Lakes region, which encompasses 2 countries, 8 states, and hundreds of cities, towns, and villages just like ours. Therefore, when voting on this issue, I implore you to think across the village line. In southeastern Wisconsin, you don't have to go far to see how another village's vote has impacts across a larger region. The Microsoft data center in Mount Pleasant has already prompted an expansion of the We Energies plant, the power plant in our backyard, a new natural gas plant in Kenosha, and the construction of a 33-mile pipeline through Racine to satisfy the data's astronomical energy use. Don't we want Mount Pleasant to be thinking about Caledonia when they decide to approve these projects? And if we want Mount Pleasant to be thinking about us, don't we need to think about them and Oak Creek and Milwaukee and people in Michigan? When you look at the environmental impact of this center, you might think that our natural resources and infrastructure can handle the impact of one center in our community. But Lake Michigan is not Caledonia's resource. The We Energies plant is not Caledonia's plant. These resources exist in a much larger context, and so does this data center.
Your time's up, so wrap it up real quick.
Okay,
Let her finish.
These data centers are popping up all over, from Benton Harbor all the way to Beaver Dam. So like this, we just can't think locally. We have to think of the region. Is this the right choice for Caledonia? I don't think so. But if you think so, you also have to ask, is this the right thing for southeastern Wisconsin? Is it the right thing for Wisconsin as a whole? Is it the right thing for the Great Lakes region? This is something that we share with other people. We can't be selfish about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
One more.
Good evening. My name is Kat Neubauer, 5553 Short Road. I come before you tonight to oppose rezoning, and I want to talk a little bit about power. And what I mean by that is you have a lot of power in your hands. You have a lot of responsibility in your hands. And we've elected you to wield that power responsibly and transparently. And what I'm asking for you to do in opposing rezoning, specifically rezoning, is to not give away the power that's been entrusted in you. You have an opportunity to demand or ask for benefits for this community if you insist on pushing this data center through. Don't give it away by rezoning without asking for anything. We, the people in this room, have power too. And we intend to show up to make sure that we are heard and to ask you to oppose this. Don't give away your power because we're not going to give away ours. Thank you.
Kat. Anybody else? Let's make this easier. Anybody else wants to speak? Let's just make a line of people and we'll go right through you. Hi.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm good. I'm Regina Capelli-Scheid, and I also live on 7325 Foley Road. My question to the board is there been consideration to wait for rezoning? I attended the meeting a couple weeks ago, or was it last week? I don't remember, but about the idea that you are creating a new long use planning commission. Why then should we be quickly rezoning this? Not only are you considering this 400 acres or 250 acres, whatever it is, from We Energies, but if you look at the plot map for that area, you will see that We Energies owns a vast number of acres already. So what will happen if we quickly rezone this? What will happen to the rest of that area? Will it be rezoned industrial, what will happen to it? So we start with this rezoning. What are we going to do with the rest of that area that We Energies already owns that they're not asking to be rezoned at this moment? So I'm just going to conclude by saying, of course, I want it to stay rural. Of course, I want it to be an environmental corridor. I believe in the green spaces that we work so hard to have. I believe in the green energy that we've been talking about on a broader scale for years and years and years now, only to have that conversation be disrupted by data centers. So my parents live on KR or did live close to KR. I've been driving by that very, very, very often in the last 10 years. If nobody has seen KR, they should drive by it to see what a Microsoft data center looks like. Thank you.
Don't be bashful. Come on up. I didn't think so. Go ahead.
Geraldine Barkdale, 5147 Pine Tree Circle. A few months ago was the first time I approached the board, and at that time there was only a few of us in the room. And I do believe I made a comment that I felt like I was David going up against Goliath. I don't know if you remember. I said I felt like, I felt like I had a rock against a sword fight. But I'm looking around at all these people, and it's making me realize that David won that fight. It was because he fought for something that was righteous, and that's what everybody in this room is standing for, something that's right, that means something to us. And I think if you guys think hard enough, you can see by people that are here tonight, from what you've heard, we should not have to come back. It would probably be a good idea for you guys to just tell Dewberry that they don't need to come back, that they can just pack it and go.
Hello, good evening. My name is Lisa Avila, and my address is 4923 Carter Drive. Good evening. I debated on saying anything because I'm a little bit heated and I needed to compose myself. I appreciate the fact that some of you look like you are listening to us while others are not. And you know, I agree with everybody in this room. We don't want this. And I just find it odd. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't really know anything about data centers, don't really know anything about you guys. But all of a sudden, I feel like I just heard about this a month ago. And now we made our own Facebook group to talk about this. And all of a sudden, now you're going to vote on it. And it's like you guys are doing this under the table with with nothing. So just be transparent. And hopefully we can have a great conversation about this tomorrow night.
Anybody else? Going once? Twice? 3 times? Thank you, everybody, for all your input. That concludes public comment, which means you have to be silent. Sorry. So moving on then, we're going to move on to presentations of Project Nova. Laura Millian is going to kick it off for us.
Tom? I actually do have something that I'd like to say. I'll say it as a member of the public, if you like.
Go ahead.
It's my duty as a trustee to listen to all the perspectives. But the context that I'm listening to it in is that you people in the front row have had, I don't know how long to work on this. Years, possibly. You've been working with RCEDC. You've been working with We Energies. You have sewn people up with non-disclosure agreements. All of that information that you hold, we have yet to hear. So when I listen to your presentation tomorrow, I am going to listen to it in that perspective, that you have had a long time to plan, but then you're going to present something to us in a very short time frame without even time to consider what the questions are that we might want to ask. We don't even know what we don't know because data centers are a new beast for us. So I want you to understand that this has been the least transparent application for any kind of rezoning I have ever heard.
Thank you, Fran. All right, again, audience needs to be silent.
Good evening. I'm Laura Million. I'm with Racine County Economic Development Corporation. We work closely with the state of Wisconsin, the Milwaukee 7 Regional Economic Development Organization, Racine County, and our local municipalities, including the Village of Caledonia, to facilitate economic development projects that increase the tax base and create job opportunities for residents. This evening, I am pleased to introduce Microsoft, the company behind Project Nova. RCDC has had the privilege of working with Microsoft over the last several years. First, as the company investigated investing in Racine County, and then as it moved forward with developing the Mount Pleasant Data Center campus. In my role, I have spoken with other communities who have worked with Microsoft, and I have firsthand experience seeing that Microsoft prioritizes partnering with communities where it locates and emphasizes being a good neighbor. This evening, Microsoft company representatives will share more about their approach to locating new data centers and working with communities. They will also offer an overview of tomorrow night's neighborhood information meeting, where you'll be able to learn more about this project. Before I turn it over to the Microsoft team, I wanted to share the anticipated benefits of the proposed data center campus, or data center in Caledonia. First, the data center is expected to expand property tax base in Caledonia. The proposed data center...
Sorry, Laura, 1 second. There can be no interruptions from the audience or you'll be removed from the room. Please understand that. Please be quiet, civil, and listen.
The proposed data center will diversify the village's tax base and increase property tax revenue to enable the village to maintain service levels for fire and police, make road investments, and consider investments in parks and recreation. Currently, 88% of the village's property tax revenue comes from residential properties, with 10% from commercial and 2% coming from industrial uses. A conservative analysis by staff estimates that the new data center could result in between $1.2 to $1.6 million in taxes annually to the village, and could reduce the property tax burden on residential properties by between 6 to 8%, resulting in residential property making up just 80 to 82% of the total general revenue and increasing the industrial revenue portion to 8 to 10% of the village tax base. Developing the data center outside of a tax increment district allows the tax benefits generated by the project to flow directly to the village, county, school district, and technical college sooner. The benefit will be realized as soon as the payment of 2027 taxes after the land use is changed if the rezoning is approved. It is also notable that the company plans to pay for any needed water and sewer infrastructure required to serve the data center. The village will not need to pay for the new infrastructure. In addition to increased tax base, the project will impact the area economy positively. The project will create valuable jobs in the community. The data center project is expected to result in between 300 to 400 construction jobs. These include a variety of trades with a significant need for electricians and HVAC positions. Most will be in demand during the construction period, but also during ongoing maintenance of the facility. Direct jobs at the site may range from 50 to 200 positions. Often, it's usually quoted as 50 jobs per building. These are good paying positions and can result in six-figure salary for data center technicians. The project will have a ripple effect in the community. In addition to the jobs and tax base impact, data centers create a multiplier effect in the community. For every one direct data center job, nearly 4 additional jobs are created in the local economy across IT, skilled trades, retail, food service, and professional services. To be more specific, this project will have tangible economic benefits for local businesses. RCDC regularly talks with small businesses across our community, including those near the Microsoft site in Mount Pleasant, about the impact the project is having on their businesses. This includes restaurants that are now growing because they are delivering lunches to the site and seeing an increase in restaurant traffic. Local construction firms who are directly benefiting from working on the site. Businesses moving to the area to be part of the construction project, and yet others moving here to be part of the ecosystem that technology is being created by Microsoft. Our CEDC, with our partner, the Milwaukee 7, encourage those in the audience, residents, and village board to learn more about this project and the opportunity it represents for Caledonia and the region in the coming days. To be clear, a decision is not being made about this project this evening. I want to now introduce Diane Strom, Community Affairs Region Manager for Microsoft.
There is no discussion from the public. There is no discussion from the public that will be removed. Do you understand that? Mr. Stecker, do you understand that? Thank you. Mr. Stecker, you have been warned once. That's the end.
Thank you, Laura, for the introduction. Good evening, President Weatherston, board members, and Village of Caledonia community members. My name is Diane Strom, and I serve as Microsoft America's Community Affairs Regional Manager. Tonight, I am pleased to be here with my colleagues to formally introduce Microsoft as the developer behind Project Nova, the proposed data center in your community. While the subject property isn't yet zoned for data center use, we're introducing ourselves now because we believe it's important to be transparent as we can move forward. We're here to begin an open conversation, sharing who we are, what we're proposing, and most importantly, listening to you. We know this project has raised questions and concerns. We've heard those tonight, and we're committed to engaging openly and respectfully. I'm joined here tonight by several colleagues, including Hoda Nia, Senior Land Development Manager, who's my co-presenter tonight, Krista Venegas, our local Community Affairs Manager, a proud resident of Racine, plus Rich Brittingham from Dewberry, who has led the entitlement process on our behalf to date. For Caledonia, the most important thing to know is that we're still very early in the planning process, beginning with this land use map change and rezone application. And we don't yet know exactly what future customer demand will require us to build here, but we're fully committed to engaging with the community throughout the process, beginning now. That said, Microsoft is not new to Wisconsin. We've been part of and investing in Wisconsin for almost a decade, beginning with Titletown Tech, our partnership with the Green Bay Packers to accelerate emerging technology startups. Last year, we began constructing an AI training data center on the site in the village of Mount Pleasant. With that investment, we have continued to expand our commitments to the state and local communities, including the launch of an AI co-innovation lab with University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee to accelerate advanced manufacturing firms in the state, a data center academy with Gateway Technical College to train students for careers in data center operations, and upskilling students, teachers, and workers in AI. Last week, Microsoft's Vice Chair and President Brad Smith announced our plans to construct an additional data center on our site in the village of Mount Pleasant. Brad Smith's commitments from last week hold true, and I really encourage you all to go and listen to the announcement. We design our data centers with care for people, place, and planet. I want to specifically call out what this means for our water and energy use. Our water demands are modest compared to other large industrial water users, and we're continually improving our water use efficiency through new technology. We're also focused on making sure Microsoft pays its own way for electricity. We aim to ensure that Wisconsin families do not bear the cost associated with our data centers. In his speech, Brad Smith laid out principles for energy, and I encourage you to watch his announcement and read his speech. Tonight, Hoda, Rich, and I will give you a brief overview of our proposal, and our team will be at tomorrow night's information session from 5 to 7 to talk more about our proposal, answer questions, and hear from you.
I invite you to join us for this meeting. This is the first of many opportunities to come. Next slide. Oh, that's me. So Microsoft's mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. That includes communities like Caledonia. When we join a community, we bring more than technology. We bring a commitment to transparency, sustainability, and partnership. Data centers are the backbone of modern life. They power everything from the apps on your phone to telehealth visits to transactions at local businesses. Every time you send an email, stream a show, connect with loved ones virtually, or check your bank account, you're relying on a data center. A data center is a secure building that houses thousands of computer servers and data storage devices connected to the internet. For those curious about the inside of a data center, the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel has an article today that shows a video and photos of the inside of a data center under construction in the village of Mount Pleasant. All right. Yep, thanks. I'll just keep going. Microsoft operates 400 data centers in more than 34 countries around the world. In Wisconsin, companies like Rockwell Automation rely on Microsoft cloud services every day. And these facilities are becoming even more essential as they help keep America competitive with China and the world, supporting leadership in AI, driving innovation, and enabling us to export technology and services to the world, all from right here in Wisconsin. Let me show you how we approach working with communities like yours. All right. When Microsoft joins a community, we make a pledge to contribute to a sustainable future, advance prosperity and well-being, and operate responsibly as a good neighbor. We are committed. Our first pillar is contributing to a sustainable future. We're committed to being a carbon negative, water positive, and zero waste by 2030. In Wisconsin, we're partnering to build a 250 megawatt solar project and fund 20 plus ecological projects like Root Pike Winds wetland restoration at Cliffside Park here in Caledonia and restoration of Lamprey Creek and village of Mount Pleasant. On advancing community prosperity and well-being, when built, our data centers create family supporting jobs, both during construction and operations, as Laura shared. We invest in local infrastructure, contribute significant tax revenue, and support local suppliers and businesses. On tax revenue, a data center represents an enormous financial investment in land, buildings, and equipment by Microsoft. And other communities' tax revenue from data center investments have contributed to lowering local residential taxes and improving infrastructure like school. In Mount Pleasant, our data center is generating hundreds of jobs and supporting local organizations. On jobs, we held our first hiring event last Friday at Gateway Technical College. And we're excited to have those hiring events for operating staff for the data center. And I share that as just an example of how our projects create local opportunities. On responsibility, we design our data centers with the environment and community in mind, using sustainable materials, reducing noise and light, and complying with all applicable local, state, and federal environmental regulations. We are committed to listening, learning, and adapting as we move forward. This slide summarizes some of the investments we've done in Mount Pleasant and Southeast Wisconsin, and I want to acknowledge the work of Krista Venegas, who's on the ground here in Racine County and who connects directly with the community, answering questions and providing updates. She's also investing in and collaborating with local nonprofits like United Way and Gateway Technical College for digital skills training, and Root Pike Wen and the Eco Justice Center on environmental sustainability. Before I hand it over to Hoda, I encourage you to learn more about our work in Wisconsin and other communities by visiting local.microsoft.com, and I encourage you to join us tomorrow night.
Thank you, Diane. I wish this room was set up slightly differently so I could face the community as well. Thanks for having us tonight. I'm Hoda Nia. I'm the land development manager for Microsoft in Wisconsin. I'm basically the person responsible for executing our plans for the data centers in the community. As Diane shared early, I have to also do this, sorry. Okay, there we go. We are very early in our development process, and I'm here just to talk to you about how early we are, because I heard some comments about years of being, having this in plans. That is actually not the case quite yet, and that's why we are here, to hear you and listen to you. There's no design yet for this data center. This is very beginning stages of our application process. We plan years in advance, yes, to ensure that we have sufficient infrastructure in place for these centers. And we also need to look at customer demands for these centers. These centers are the backbone of any society, any modern society. They help power up all of our technologies that we have in the room and the businesses. So there's a whole ecosystem that gets supported by these centers. Once they're operational, they're going to be one of the quietest neighbor in this zone of class of assets. And they are not during construction, but once operational. We have basically, the reason we are here right now is that we want to come to you and listen and hear. And I understand you have priorities and concerns. I just heard it very clearly: environment, water quality, rural character. And that's really the opportunity for all of us to partner together and help shape a future for this parcel. On the design side, while we don't have a design in mind, we are obviously mindful of the rural character of this community, of your community. And there are setbacks, buffers, performance standards that are being put forward by village staff that we will have to comply. These ordinances are local ordinances and state ordinances that we have to all comply with. On water and energy side, we obviously don't just build data centers, we build partnerships with communities. And this means local utilities. So we will work with water and energy utilities to make sure there's no burden on the residents and that we pay our own fair share to make sure that the new infrastructure is actually put in place for this parcel. Our goal is to blend into the landscape and support the biodiversity, not to disrupt it. And you can see this is one of our facilities actually in the picture here. And you can see a lot of greenery. We work on landscapes and many other things around it. So just a quick update on the stage of the development cycle, because I think it's important for just to talk about where we are in the process. We are at the very first stage of the cycle here. The site identification and the acquisition. And as you can see, zoning approval is part of this process. After that, we have the infrastructure scoping phase as well as the master site planning. The master site planning phase is when we actually need to finalize our design for the data center and obtain all the necessary permits and regulatory compliance required for our center. And then once everything is actually approved and in place, then construction will commence and then we'll go into operations. Also on the other side of the screen, you can see the region, the zones. I heard some of the questions of why here. We already have it in Mount Pleasant. These facilities need to have redundancies. They always work in the zone of 3. We need to have the cluster of 3 for them to be reliable. In case one of these centers go down, you need to have that redundancy in place. So this 3 zonal, as you can see the availability zone in the screen, that's how all of these clusters typically work. We need data centers to support each other. And so the zone of the triangulation is actually certain distance. We can only go to a certain distance. We require a certain size of a parcel to be able to build a data center like this. But I want to emphasize that this parcel, this data center, is going to be different than the form factor that's built in Mount Pleasant. That is a very different fleet. And so while we don't know the exact form factor, we know it's going to be very different in feel and look than what we have in Mount Pleasant. So please, if you are driving by KR, by all means, but it's going to look very different here in long term, and it's going to help blend in. With that, I just want to make sure that I can pass it on to Rich from Dewberry, who can actually talk about proposal in a bit of a highlight as well. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Rich Brittingham with Dewberry. We are formally the applicant for the application that's in front of the Plan Commission right now for comprehensive plan amendment and rezoning. I want to thank the Village Board for having us tonight in order to allow Microsoft the opportunity to talk about their affiliation with this project. I know Diane and Hoda touched briefly on Microsoft's commitment to the community, Microsoft's plans and process for how a data center campus is planned, acquired, developed. We look forward to talking about that in much more detail tomorrow at the community meeting, and we hope to have good dialogue with both the Village Board members and the public who are so passionate about their community. And that's what, as I said back in July when I was here in front of you, in every instance where the public takes ownership of their community and comes out and voices their opinions, the projects always work out better. So again, I can't thank you enough for coming out and voicing your opinions, and we look forward to talking with you further. I don't want to go too deep into the formality of our application because that'll happen at the appropriate time when we come forward for public hearings in front of the Village Board. But I did want to just touch on the technicalities of our application just to kind of close out tonight's presentation. We're asking for a comprehensive plan amendment and we're asking for a rezoning. The reason for that was put in motion when the comprehensive plan amendment was adopted by the Village in January of 2025 to create the Transition Light Industrial District. The Transition Light Industrial District talked about creating uses, predominantly data centers. That opened up the door for Microsoft to explore opportunities in this region. It's because of that action of the Village Board and the comprehensive plan language that we're here tonight. There are also tactics within that comprehensive plan that talk about the details of development. It's those details that'll come in the second and third phase of the development cycle, where we talk about detailed open space, preservation, environmental sensitivity, et cetera. We regret that we don't have that information right now, but that's just not where we are in the process. Diane spoke a lot about the examples of benefits to the community. We'll have an opportunity to talk about a little bit more of those in detail tomorrow night. Again, I look forward to the next steps, both in front of the Plan Commission, the Village Board, and further discussions with the public. And thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you. So, for the public, be here tomorrow night. We'll be here. Be respectful, be polite, and you'll get a good answer, I'm sure. Okay? Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. We'll move on then with ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance 20.
You want to let everybody leave?
They can.
What?
Well, just give us a sec, yeah.
Oh, you want a break?
Just
All right,
because
we'll
so
take,
that.
I'm sorry, we'll take a 5-minute break.
People don't want to stick around.
I pushed the wrong buttons. Ordinance 2025-11 relating to quorum, village board members' absence and participation by teleconferencing and video conferencing. This went through the committee of the whole at our last meeting and was passed on a 5-0 vote. Can I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve resolution or ordinance 2025-11 and not lay it over anymore.
I do have a comment on it, though.
Hold on. Can I have a second on that motion?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Fran, what is your comment?
In B2, lines 6 and 7, we need to strike that language because we agreed that it wouldn't be at the discretion of the village president, but as it's drafted here, it says if the village president receives and allows such things. So we just need to strike that language.
Sorry, in what section?
Where are you reading that, Fran?
B, sub 2, lines 6 and 7, it says, if the village president receives the member's request in a timely manner and allows such attendance. And we have stricken the ability of the village president to allow or disallow that. So we need to strike that language.
There must have been another place where it was in there we didn't notice.
Yeah, I think it was also in section 3 that got reviewed and removed.
Yeah.
So, Fran, we're going to approve it with that change. Is that what you're?
Yes.
Would you make that motion?
Yes.
To-
Yeah, I move to approve it as changed, as I just described.
All right.
I'll second it. Somebody did.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have two motions on the same thing, but thank you.
Okay.
Resolution 2025-67, authorizing the Village of Caledonia to enter into a contract with City of Racine for bus services provided by Ride Racine in the Village of Caledonia for the 2026-2027 year. This also went through the Committee of the Whole and was approved 5-0. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-067.
Thank you, Nancy. Can I have a second? Was that Holly?
Yeah.
Any discussion on the motion?
No, I think, but this is the one, again, Todd, where we're going to 3 years, not 1 year.
It'll be 2 years.
2 years.
2026, 27, but it'll correlate with when the Visit Racine County contract ends. So then they'd come at the same time, and then he will give quarterly updates on ridership information for the
Right.
Village of Caledonia.
So for those people who are in the audience, this is a change. It's a positive change. Instead of doing it every year, our administrators helped us make it a little more efficient. Thank you, Todd.
I think, though, at least as I recall looking at it, I think it has the wrong dates in it. I think it says 2024 instead of 2025,
Where did you, do you know what page that was on?
where it's under term. I think I'm right. I don't have it in front of me, but I think.
No,
I'm
the
correct.
resolution looks okay.
We can update the
Where
contract.
it says
language.
term. Look at the attachment, and under the part of the
Oh.
attachment that says term.
It says January 1, 26 through December 31st, 27.
Oh, okay. For whatever reason, the version I had said 2024. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, no, it's good. I'm looking
That's
at
good.
it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 2025-68, authorizing the Village of Caledonia to enter into a contract with Wisconsin Humane Society for Humane Animal Control Services for 2026, also passed by the Committee of the Whole with a 5-0 vote. Can I have a motion on this item, please?
Move to approve Resolution 2025-068.
I'll second.
Okay.
What?
Well, I was just going to say that we are looking at doing a couple of changes, just procedural related to the contract. One is the whereas clause words and/or obligation, asking those to be deleted. The 2-year agreement and changing the termination clause to 6 months or a year, as opposed to a 2-year. It says that it needs, essentially you would be approving it for a 2-year agreement, but to cancel that agreement, it would have to be canceled like the same time. So we're looking at changing some of those elements. And then it was updating the indemnification subject to immunities and limits on liability per Wisconsin law, and then adding the village clerk to the notice provision. But those are elements that I sent to the Humane Society, but I did not get a response back yet.
I'll move to approve.
Wait.
We have a recommended motion that Elaine drafted.
Well, also, the term of agreement that's in our packet is December 24 to
That's what I was
25.
gonna say, that one.
But that's what I was saying. That's the one I was talking about.
So, Elaine, do you have,
We would recommend that you motion to approve the resolution substantively and subject to final review and approval by the village clerk and attorney.
All right.
Oh,
With,
Not-
with the changes that I just outlined.
I move to approve the resolution substantively with the changes just discussed.
I have a second? Thank you,
Second.
Fran. I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
mm.
The Humane Society kind of rushed to get us that because they didn't have it already. They were kind of drafting, so I'm sure that was why.
Item D, Resolution 2025-69, approving and authorizing the village participation in the Purdue Direct Opioid Settlement. Did you want to elaborate on this, Elaine, or did you? I think it's
Yeah.
pretty well clear on the data.
Sure. You have obviously this resolution to participate in the Purdue bankruptcy estate, essentially. You have previously opted to participate in that and to file a claim. So now this would give you the opportunity to potentially receive some funds from that estate. So we would be recommending approval, and then our office will work with the clerk's office to get the appropriate documents submitted for that.
Thank you, Elaine. Can I have a motion then, please?
I'll move to approve resolution 2025-069.
Thank you, Fran. Can I have a second?
Second.
Was that Mike? I'm sorry, who was it?
Mike?
Mike?
Yep.
Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is carried. New business approval of AP checks. Mr. Wishaw, if you could, please.
Yes, sir. Mr. President, I move to approve AP checks totaling to $242,536.04, but I do have one question before we approve.
All right, let's get a second first. Then.
I'll second.
We have a second. What is your question, Mr. Wishaw?
Okay, Wayne or Todd, refresh my memory. In my advanced age, I cannot recall this one. There's a invoice from Aon Company, NFP, says consulting project, VOC Comp 25. It's from an insurance company. It says consulting/project. I don't recall what this is.
So that is our salary study. So that's the salary study. So it is, this year we will be doing, well, next year, we're starting at January 2026, just to
Okay.
make sure we didn't get it in.
All right.
And so we have 25 jobs we'll be doing, and then we have a continued 2 years after that we will have access to refreshing the data as well as looking at additional jobs that we may create or may need to evaluate.
Okay, because I know we talked about this in the budget process, but I didn't know if that was being an additional charge to this or what it was. So that's all. Okay.
Thank you, Lee. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of AP checks is done. Approval of U.S. bank credit card list. Mr. Wishaw, please.
Mr. President, I move to approve credit card charges amount of $52,886.39.
Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Second.
Mike, any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried. New business, Class B liquor license, Tailspin LLC, doing business as Tailspin Market. Can I have a motion on this, please?
Oh, I'll move to approve the new Class B liquor license for Tailspin LLC.
Thank you, Fran. Can I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on this item? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstaining.
You're abstaining.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Fine, be that way. All right, so that motion carries. Thank you. Adjournment, we are adjourned from the village board meeting and we will move directly into the committee of the whole